Hello there, beautiful souls and beautiful humans. RozyGlow Hannes here with an update on what's going on with this equinox, the opportunities for sacred union, also for self-care, and we have so much energy around clearing the frequency of resentment from our energy fields and our cellular memory that I absolutely had to show up and let you know why and how and what we can actually do about it. So let's just start off with the fact that we are heading towards the 23rd of September. Dun, dun, dun. And this is actually the day of the equinox in the Northern Hemisphere. It's the autumn equinox, Southern Hemisphere. It is the spring equinox. Now, this is actually an incredibly powerful time of year. If you saw my video on the about the 23rd of July being like the most powerful day of the year, that power peaks on the 23rd of September. And this happens every year. It's all to do with the alignment of Sirius and where the energy is in terms of like vortexes and feminine energy and all sorts of other things that a really cool guy spoke about in his video, which I'll put in the link when we finished in the text box. But for now, what I wanted to say is it is very much linked to sacred union. The equinox energy moves us into the sign of Libra, and it also is the time when we get the opportunity with this particular alignment with Sirius and with everything else that's going on in the sky, the fact there's a massive energy boost given to us on this planet in our solar system to really align with the frequencies of sacred union, which for me mean the balance of the inner masculine and inner feminine and their evolved and resolved state. So moving beyond the wounds of our mother-father energy, moving beyond the wounds of wounded masculine and feminine, and actually allowing us to come into a place where we can actually mature on whatever level we're at, take it to the next level. So with the equinox, you've always got this opportunity to see your shadow and your light in beautiful balance, to see where you come from, where you're going, really what's in the way, what you're going to want to contract in your life, so reduce in your life, and what you're going to want to expand in your life in order to be able to align fully with what it is that you desire to experience. And for all of us, the sacred union piece is huge. People want true love. People want to meet their twin flame. But ultimately, sacred union is about our relationship with ourselves. It's about our relationship with our soul consciousness, with source, with the world around us, with our friends, with our soul family, and of course, with our romantic partners. And this is why I decided to offer a 2-hour workshop on the 23rd in the morning, which is when the energy is going to be at its strongest. So in Europe, it's morning, but obviously, if you want to catch the replay in the US or in Australia, you can do so and, you know, make the most of the energy in the morning. So ultimately, what I wanted to do was to give everybody the opportunity to receive the codes of sacred union, because this is what I called into my life. When I first started my pathway as a coach, I had read The Honeymoon Effect by Bruce Lipton, and it had really blown my mind and taken me to the point where I was like, wow, that's what I want. If that is possible, if that is something that is something I can achieve on this earth, then I want to experience it. That's what I want. That's what I want more than anything. And that started me on my path, which allowed me to train in the different modalities that I have as a coach. I've now moved into coin it multidimensional success coaching, and I'll do another video about that. But for now, this was really about being able to feel that I could be in love on this planet, and that being in love energy is sustainable. Now, being in love with yourself, being in love with the divine, being in love with life allows us really to experience the kind of love that we truly desire, because being in love is a frequency that connects us to the hormone oxytocin, which is the love hormone, and it allows us really to see the world through eyes of love. So, you know, our longing for a true union partnership with someone else has to come from our relationship with ourselves. So what I'm doing on Saturday at 10:30 a.m. is I'm offering you all the opportunity to upgrade. So whether you're looking for love and you keep attracting the wrong kind of relationship, or you're not attracting anyone, whether you're in a relationship that you would like to upgrade, whether you're in a relationship that you're not happy with and you're just wondering whether to stay or go, this is for you, because sacred union codes allow you to move into a higher frequency in yourself. And as a result of that, your relationships absolutely have to shift too. So if the mirror doesn't work for you, it will become clearer as you move into greater resolution in yourself. It will become clearer whether or not the person that you are with can meet you at the new level or not. And, you know, magic really does happen. When I'm working with couples, and particularly with women or men that are not sure whether they should stay in a relationship, I say, look, do the deep inner work first. Then you will see whether or not it is possible to truly be with this being. And the more we work with this, the inner wounding we have around our our inner masculine and feminine, the more we see the shift in those around us too. So I am statements, I used to call in my sacred union, the actual practices, the light language transmissions that have been coming through to share this sacred union codes with you, the reality crafting practice, which is the co-creation meditation that I'm going to share with you to meet the version of you that is in sacred union with themselves, with the world, with their partners, to then be able to download the codes into your energy field. And then looking more practically at things as well, like what is it that it really takes in terms of actually being able to sustain sacred union, because this is really important. And you know, I find that we have to look at what is required for our current relationship to upgrade or to attract one that really resonates with sacred union. What is it we want to shift in our lives? So we'll be exploring that. What changes do we want to see? And, you know, we're going to be working with key relationship values and desires regarding the experiences that we wish to have in sacred union. When you know what your language of love is, when you know what you desire to experience, never mind what other people tell you should want, but what you want, then it's much easier to be a vibrational match for it. And there's little tricks of the trade that I'll share with you on Saturday in terms of how to define that. Also, you know, when we actually look at doing this kind of work, there is always deeper work to do. So I will be sharing with you what next steps are available to you if you do want to take them. And, you know, this is the invitation to all of us, because when we're in conflict within, our energy field is in conflict too. And so we don't end up experience the sense of inner harmony or peace that we long for. Now, ultimately, every one of us is here to come to create the experience of inner peace on the deepest level. Because when we do that, we shift our vibration, we shift the resonance of our energy field, and we actually affect those around us in a positive way. So sacred union is also very much about what it means to experience peace as a frequency in yourself and in the world. So that's all coming. But we also have self-care. Now, self-care is part of sacred union in the sense that self-care is really about us valuing ourselves, prioritizing ourselves, being selfish so we can be selfless. And most givers in this world, so empaths, those of us who feel we're on some kind of soul purpose or mission to support the ascension of humanity, typically put ourselves at the bottom of our to-do list and our importance list. And I can't tell you how many coaches, how many mentors, how many therapists, how many healers, how many yoga teachers, how many teachers I see in this world, leaders in this world, heart-centered humans that are just so generous with their time and energy with others, that they're not so generous with their time and energy with themselves. And very rarely do we take the time to actually really stop and give ourselves the opportunity to just rest, reset, and discover what for us in this moment self-care actually looks like. This is exactly why I created the retreat that I have created for the end of October. Now, bear with me on this, because when I get to the resentment bit, you'll see why this is also important. Everything is a chapter in this particular book, which is about sacred union, about self-care, and about what we really need to release in order to receive these frequencies in our energy field and to transmit them. So with the self-care retreat, it became very clear to me every year, when it's around the end of October, I received the transmission the 31st of October that in our universe, the light had won. This was back in 2020. This was when StarPeace was seeded, and I was given the message, the war is over, Star Wars is over, it's time for StarPeace. RozyGlow, go forth, spread this message. And I was like, okay. And this is when I downloaded the Sovereignty Prayer. So last year was the first year that I shared a StarPeace retreat, and it was the Sovereignty retreat. We were calling in the Sovereignty codes. So we took those in, those of us who'd gathered together, received those codes, and we've been transmitting them through the crystalline grid, through our energy field, and through the divine mind grid for the last year. This year, when I tapped into the StarPeace codes that are available to us for our upgrade, it's all about self-care. It's all about self-nurture, self-nourishment. Part of sovereignty is actually being able to really nurture and nourish ourselves and be self-sustaining and regenerative. Now, that doesn't mean that we separate ourselves from others, but it means we work with harmonizing our own inner frequency so that we're a match for healthy relationships, for healthy connections, for optimized opportunities, rather than being out of resonance and therefore ending up, you know, having more experiences of wounding than of joy and integration and expansion and experience that helps us to evolve. So the invitation this year is for those of you who know you have been giving out so much to actually come and join me 27th to the 29th of October for 2 nights and 2.5 days in beautiful Kent countryside, southeast England. And this is where we're going to be working with a huge crystalline grid, beautiful singing bowls. There's going to be basically cacao ceremony, multidimensional yoga, delicious, nutritious soul and human nourishing food by lovely Lula, a nutrition talk on self-care for starseeds. We're going to be working with self-care intentions and actually how to embed them in our lives so we get really clear on what is right for us. Time to rest, time to enjoy the wood fire hot tub, the private lake, the beautiful grounds, to work with cacao ceremony, as I said, to also work with plant medicine that will allow us to access the frequency of inner joy. Now, if you've ever been to my retreats, these are not sort of deep dive trauma release retreats where you're going deep into the trauma and spending all this time in darkened spaces. It's actually about setting intention of where we actually want to go in ourselves, what we want to experience, and clearing up our energies in such a way that we transmute the density and move into the light. This is when you get to experience soul family, togetherness with those of same frequency, seeding the energies of well, self-care for all of humanity and what that actually means, so that we are giving from an overflowing cup. And joy is the most phenomenal frequency for actually co-creating, for aligning, for speeding up the intentions that we desire in our lives to experience, to co-create, seeing them in our physical reality. Now, several of the people I've spoken to who have decided to join us have ended up just running themselves ragged. Either they've ended up brokenhearted or sick, but just basically in a position where there's that need to tend and mend, rest, repair, feed and breed, which is the frequency of oxytocin. And this is what we're going to be connecting to. So I've got a couple of spaces left. I would really love you to get in touch if you're interested in this. I'll put the links for everything I'm talking about in the text box, as I said. So either you'll see it below the video or above, but ultimately this is your invitation to step into the frequency of self-care, to come and have lots of fun, to sing joy into your heart, to play with the energies of self-care, of self-nourishment, and to come away really feeling like you've given yourself a tremendous gift, which is your own time, your own attention, and being around those of the highest frequency that are available in your community. Let's move on to resentment. Now, resentment is the key wound for us to clear if we want to really move beyond the illness of cancer, the dis-ease of self-attack and autoimmune illnesses in general. It's not just cancer, but when we talk about fibromyalgia, whether we talk about any kind of allergies, we talk about really feeling uncomfortable in our own skin, and even anxiety and depression. You know, it's so important for us to consider the inner dialogue that we have and actually how that affects our health, our well-being, our relationships, our connection to the world. So I wanted to just share with you just how prominent this is, because we just had the new moon in Virgo, right? And we're moving into a full moon in Aries. Now, I did a little bit of research on resentment and the zodiac signs, and listen to this. The 6 most, resentful signs, or the signs that have the hardest time with resentment, are actually Scorpio, Taurus, Aries, Virgo, Libra, and Cancer. Now, in this current climate, we've just come past Virgo. So Virgo's resentment is all about perfectionism. It's about disappointment of not meeting our own goals, our own high expectations, and others not meeting our expectations. So consider how resentment is playing out for you in terms of old hurts around your own sense of not achieving what you want to, and also when others have let you down, they've not lived up to your expectations. This is part of what we're clearing. Then we're moving into the full moon in Aries, which I'll be doing next Wednesday. I'll be doing the co-creation meditation world service in the Manifesting StarPeace Utopia Facebook group. It'll be live there at 1 o'clock. So if you haven't yet joined the group, I'll put the link for you to do that. It's my gift to you, and it will later on at some point, the replay will be available on YouTube on RozyGlow. But if you want to participate live and really get into the energies that are being available to you, we're going to be clearing the wound of resentment. And in the way that it actually affects Aries is things left unsaid. So when you've actually suppressed things that were left unsaid, this is the key here, is like, what do you feel that you wanted to say that you haven't said? What haven't you said in relationships? What haven't you been able to tell someone that you feel was important that they knew? Like, how can we transmute that so that we can actually come from love and share our truth? Now, it gets even more interesting because Taurus is actually the full moon that we are going to be dealing with at the retreat in October. So we're just having the Aries one in September, and in October we will have the Taurus one, which is actually about, you know, repayment in terms of resentment and how it shows up when we want someone actually to say sorry, when we want someone actually to right a wrong. You know, this is the energy of resentment when we feel like we've been hard done by on some level, and that, you know, someone hasn't been honorable towards us or actually tried to make amends when they know that they've been wrong. So that's the element that's going to be coming through with that particular full moon. It's actually an eclipse as well, from what I remember. So it can be very, very powerful in terms of the clearing available whilst we're at the retreat. And bear in mind that the retreat is actually taking place whilst we're in the new moon energy of Scorpio. So this is all about when we feel the resentment that shows up when we've been betrayed or humiliated, or we perceive a slight, someone has slighted us. So can you see all these different opportunities that we're getting to actually clear this energy of resentment on so many different levels, because it affects us in different ways? And finally, you know, just coming back to the energy of Libra and the fact that on the 23rd of September, we're coming into the energy of Libra. So just remember, this is between the new moon and the full moon that we're going to be, the full moon in Aries that we're going to be working with next week around the 27th when I do the live. How does Libra actually work with resentment? Well, Libra does too much compromising of their own values in order to keep the peace. So where do you compromise your own values? Do you see how everything is kind of culminating to give us the opportunity to have a really big shift? When we're dealing with autumn energy, the winds of change are blowing, right? Autumn energy, as we come into the frequency of Libra, everything, the winds are changing, the leaves are falling from the trees. We're moving into a time where we're releasing things that we don't need so we can allow for new growth. Now, if September's hitting you and it's springtime, then you're going into new growth, into the shoots of, you know, new possibilities. And so releasing this wound and this resentment out of your energy field and your cellular memory is only going to help you either to shed or to rise higher up. And so this is the key. When we get to the other equinox point in March, we're moving out of Pisces into Aries. So we have this drive from water to air, whereas at this point in time, we've gone from Virgo to fire. So every one of the signs gets involved to allow this alchemical shift and transformation. And that's why there are so many opportunities available to us right now to make huge leaps in our own consciousness and our own experience, and to start to receive so much more of what it is that we actually long for. In order to have it, it is about alignment with it. It's about knowing we're deserving and worthy of it. But if we have these resentment wounds within us, we're self-attacking. So if we're self-attacking and we're attacking others, we don't feel worthy. We actually feel guilt, we feel blame, and we feel shame. And this is all part of the energy of resentment. So, my friend, do you want to clear it? This is your opportunity. Definitely check out the new moon reading if you haven't yet. It's on YouTube and it's in the StarPeace group. If you would like to join me for the Sacred Union workshop, the link is going to be here in the text box. If you'd like to join me for the retreat, link in the text box. And if you'd like to join me for the full moon world service next week, then this is also in the text box. I'm inviting you to make the most of these opportunities. I see so many people struggling, and yet they won't give themselves what they want, permission to receive what they desire. There's always a reason why they'll shut the door. And you know why? Because we're actually more scared of our success than we are of our failure. We'd rather stay right in our misery than wrong in the unknown, than actually being pleasantly surprised. So do yourself a favor and give your confirmation bias an upgrade, all right? Train your, I think it's your reticular activation system to look for what you want rather than what you don't want. As you clear resentment, you clear so much density. As you align with sacred union, you allow yourself to see through eyes of love. As you choose to self-care, you stop feeling empty. And therefore, you're not looking to others to fill you up. You are replenishing from within, which allows you to give from an overflowing cup. And guess what? Everyone loves someone who is in the space of lightness, right? So that's your invitation. So much love to meet you. Let me know how you found this. Please comment. Please share with me your experience of what really gets activated in you as I share these videos. And if you do enjoy them, thank you for sharing them. I really appreciate it. You're amazing. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed already, thank you for joining the Facebook group. You are lovely. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.